We should do like a sick intro. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-da-da. Welcome back, Team Invictus. I'm your host, Mike Rytel. Today, we are doing a interview with Ty Buttrey, done by Rob Smorol. So this interview is about 30 minutes long. Got a nice short stream for everyone today. I hope you're all staying safe. All right, here we go.
Trying to close it out. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Light that baby up as the Angels end up taking game one by the final of 9-7. What a job by Ty Buttrey. Also, Caleb Coward. Career game here tonight. A little dance step with Andleton Simmons.
All right, that was a little hype up video for my boy Ty Buttrey, right-handed pitcher with the Los Angeles Angels. How you doing today, Ty?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Just hanging out down in Florida right now.
This obviously this crazy time. I know it's crazy for you, so I appreciate you coming on for a couple minutes and sharing some wisdom with us.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and anything you guys got for me, any questions that I can answer or try to answer, hit me with whatever you got.
So let me just sneak you with this because I wanted to give this to you. And now in 100 and how many innings have you pitched? You now have pitched 88 innings. You have 104 strikeouts on the major league level. I mean, that's explosive type stuff. Jeez.
Yeah, that's cool. I need more than that though. I want to have more than that for sure.
Seriously, you've really become the go-to guy in that LA bullpen, which is really cool. But speaking of that, let's get more into your mindset and different things. And the first question I'm going to ask you is break me down. I know it's not typical right now, but in a typical day in the off season, what does that look like for you?
I'll tell you, man, that's what kind of started separating me, I feel like, from other guys, especially just in the minor league levels. That's something that I wanted to take serious. It's just my mindset, my routine, my process. I realized that, in order to be part of this 1% group and to be the best that I can be, I had to start working harder. It wasn't just a simple roll to the gym and get a couple sprints in, a couple shoulder program here and there, and do some sit-ups and call it a day. Nowadays guys are getting so fine-tuned with the workouts and the programs. These guys, I mean, there's a bunch of good trainers out there, and I found a guy in Tampa, Florida, Phil Whalen. He owns a place called Diesel Fitness, and he really just kind of helped me kind of mold my routine and my mindset to where it is now. And I mean, it starts off as just basically, 2 weeks once the season ends, I'm hanging low with my wife. We go on vacation. And then as soon as I get back, man, I fly down wherever I'm at in the country. I fly down to Tampa. I get my workout program. I get dissected by the trainers there. They write me a program, and then Monday through Sunday, it's a full-time job. It's about 4 or 5 hours of training, and then you got your throwing. It's about a 5-hour process in terms of when you wake up, but it goes into detail, man. I mean, I could go on all day about it.
Yeah, I mean that says something right there. That a Major League Baseball player that is having a ton of success needs to put in 5-6 hours a day to get all their work in. What does that say about a high school kid? Coming in for 45 minutes, taking some swings and getting out. That shows you. It shows you what separates you from the average guy, and why these kids gotta continue to put in more and more work.
Yeah, you have to.
It makes a difference.
It does. It does.
So
it's hard to see the difference too. I noticed when I was younger, I was working hard, and it's very hard to stay patient because you don't see the results. You know my career. You know how many times I was grinding away there in single A and back up and down. I was hurt, and I just couldn't. I couldn't get things going. But once I started just taking that process and that routine more serious, it started happening.
Yeah, and I want to get into that a little bit more because, when I was playing with you, I remember you telling me years back, you were, I want to say at the A level, you'd come back from an injury. I think we were down and extended together. And you were telling me that you were really struggling a little bit mentally after your injury.
Yeah.
This is probably around 2014.
Yeah.
But then when I was done playing, something eventually clicked for you. And then mentally, you were a completely different guy. Can you take us through that process? What happened there?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say there was probably two really big clicks, I guess you could say, or like the aha experience. You know, one was for me getting switched to the bullpen. That simplified a lot in my mind, in my delivery. It allowed me just to be aggressive for 1 to 2 innings, and focus on what I wanted to do as a starter. I just couldn't do that. I just wasn't able to consistently do that. And the key word there is consistent. Once I got sent down, that time that you remember me after that injury, it was kind of a grind for another 2 years back to Double A, up to Triple A a little bit, and then I just got to a point where I think it was 2017, where I just was sick of it, man. Like, I was sick of feeling anxious all the time. I was sick of coming to the field and not having fun. I was sick of other people that I played with passing me up. And at that point, I'm like, man, I've dedicated 5-6 years, and for me not to make it right now, I feel like that would be kind of a waste. And so I started doing some weird stuff, man. I started meditating. I started journaling. I know I said weird, but like, a lot of people think that stuff doesn't work. And I started taking my mental side so much more serious. And it was hard at first. I was journaling every day. I mean, I got pages going back for 3 years of thoughts I had. The meditation is something that I implemented last year that has been actually, I think, life-changing for me. And just always striving to try to find a way to get better and never being satisfied, man. Like that's kind of been my mindset. And, I feel like it's starting to come a little bit more into light now.
Yeah, what's crazy, Ty, is like that's really transformed you not only mentally but physically. Going from a point where you were a guy that threw hard when you got drafted, obviously, but you're a 99, 100 mile an hour guy now. I mean that had to play a factor, the mental into the physical piece.
Yeah, you said it right, man. I mean, if your mindset's not synced up, doesn't matter how strong, doesn't matter how flexible you are. You gotta flip the switch going in front of 40,000 people, and then in the minor leagues, you have to be able to do it consistently enough to show the club that, hey, listen, you guys can rely on me. I'll be up there when you need me to. And so many kids, man, it's so hard because some kids got it. Some kids, the mental game is easy. They simplify things. I was a little bit of an overthinker because I wanted to be so good, and I didn't have patience. So I started to do things to try to rush that process. I didn't have patience, but I had a work ethic, and that was almost kind of a double-edged sword because the work ethic put me to do so many different things and not really stick with one thing. And that's where I realized, like, man, this has to be a little bit boring to a certain extent. And once you get into that monotonous, man, this is just monotonous work day in, day out. You're committing those hours. Like, you start seeing that stuff pay off. It's weird. It takes a long time, but like once you start seeing it, it's like it's addicting. You don't want to stop that.
Sure. Yeah, and you feel like any day you take off is like, I'm really not making myself better today. I'm really hurting myself every day that you don't get that 4 or 5 hours in.
Yeah, and someone at your gym, one of your young high school kids, are going to come up and take my job here in 5-10 years. So I'm trying for that not to happen.
Staying on that topic, we're staying on the mental side of things. We have a lot of kids that don't know when's the right time to work focus on mechanics, when's the right time to just throw. Can you elaborate a little bit on when is the time for you to really work on mechanics and when's the time for you to just throw the ball?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's actually a question that I don't think I could have given you the answer to in the past, but now I've seen that how there's a time and place. I think a lot of young kids, especially a lot of high schools, guys do drills just to do drills, because that's what you think you need to do to make you better. But guys also need to start understanding their mechanics and their body awareness, and that will kind of dictate what drills to do. Having someone that's smart, that knows mechanics, that can kind of take what you do and not necessarily overhaul you and change you, but just tweak little things that keep the fundamental of your mechanics there. And that's where something that like I got into. I was always searching. I was always trying to, like I said, get the result right away. But like in terms of the drills, when to do it, it's you need to find 2-3 drills that I think you should do every single day in your catch play. Mine's I put 5-pound rotator cuffs around, or cuffs around my wrist. I do a armory program. It gets my shoulder activated. I play catch. I literally start 4 feet from the catch, or from my partner, and I just kind of step into and throw the ball just like that. And I'm literally trying to hit him in the chest as much as possible. And that allows that kind of goes along with my delivery. And and then it carries into the catch play, man. Like, it's not necessarily the drills you have to do that's going to take you to the top. It's the focus in your work every single day. When I was in the minor leagues for 4 years, I remember going out there, not really warming up, just playing catch, trying to throw it as hard as I can. If I hit the guy in the chest, great. If not, oh well. But it's funny because that you saw my results on the field and they weren't good. And it was about until AAA I started to notice that, like, if I can actually, I started playing catch with Brandon Workman, and I noticed how every time he plays catch, he did the same thing, and he literally threw it to my chest every single time. It's something my dad told me to do my whole life that I never did. And once I started bringing that focus into my catch play, I mean, like you're on the game, try to simulate that mindset that you are in the game, and try to take that into your catch play. It's extremely hard, but if you can do that, like, that will be better than I think any drill you can really do.
Yeah, and we try to tell our kids all the time, every throw has a purpose. Every single throw has a purpose. When guys are just kind of warming up, just going through the motions and just getting loose, that ends up hurting them rather than helping them. So it's always having a mindset, like
bad habits,
of having a purpose. Your purpose is, I'm going to try to hit this guy in the chest every single throw I make. Even though it sounds elementary or rudimentary, like what your dad was telling you when you were a young kid, it pays off. It really does, because you have a purpose for every throw that you're making.
Yeah.
But that's very interesting. Moving forward, this is my favorite topic because I think it's the toughest thing that young kids struggle with. I mean, I struggled with it throughout my whole career, and and I'm sure everybody's gone through it. Is when things go bad, and you're in a game on a mound, things go bad, you lose a feel for the strike zone, you lose a feel for your location. What is your cue to kind of get you back to being back to being yourself, getting back into the zone? And do you have a specific cue that you could say, this is going to get me back? You throw 3, 4, 5 balls in a row. What's going to get me back into the zone?
Yeah, so that's actually, that comes up. That's a situation that I deal with a lot. I try not to deal with that situation a lot, but all pitchers do. That's a good question, because there's kind of different parts to that. One, it's about getting yourself mentally prepared going into the game. Obviously we can talk about that later, but like having that preparation that you're about to go to war. And I look at it like, when there's a hitter up there, I try to only focus in on that glove. I try not to pay attention to the hitter. I try to trust my catcher. But sometimes that gets me going super fast. I like to pitch with a quick tempo, and that can kind of start getting me into a phase where I'm starting to rush through my delivery. And I'm going too fast. I'm not holding runners on, and I just get into throw mode, because I like to be aggressive when I pitch. I think it's something that it helps me out with my velocity, and I don't want the hitter to have a breath in between his at bats. Like, I want to get you out in 3 pitches and get on to the next guy as quick as possible. And so I almost have like that phase that I have to work on, and then my other phase is almost not coming into the game aggressive enough. I mean, sometimes that feeling where you get that little bit of that anxious feeling in your stomach, and you're kind of hesitant. You're not really sure if you want to go out there and throw everything you got. You're a little bit scared. Maybe it's a good hitter, and you're nervous. And it's something I've been telling myself since probably AA that, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down swinging. And that, to me, is something that's like, listen, if I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give it 100%, I'm going to throw this baseball as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And that's something when I'm off and when I see myself, my velo's down, I'm around the zone, I'll literally step off. I'll just try to flip the switch mentally in my head, and I'll throw the next pitch just right down the middle, steal a strike, throw it with conviction, and you'll notice more times than not, simplify. Now I'm not saying throw every pitch down the middle,
Sure.
but when you're struggling, a lot of these young pitchers is what we do. I do it. Is like you get into an 0-2 count, and you think, oh crap, now he's looking for my fastball, and then you try to make a perfect pitch low and away, or you try to throw a slider, or you try to get a swing and miss. He's just going to take it, and now you're 3-0. Now you're in a worse hole. So my best advice, man, is like when you feel that you're kind of starting to get away, instead of trying to focus more, just step back and just throw the next pitch right down the middle with conviction. And that's I can't speak for everybody. That's how I do it, and that's what helps me. But
it's
yeah.
funny that what you're saying aligns so much with what we preach. Like be aggressive. That's a huge thing. You can't pitch tentatively. That's one thing you can never do is try to be too fine, try to be too perfect. Can't be afraid of the hitter, afraid of the situation, afraid of throwing the ball. You need to be aggressive and throw the ball as hard as you can. Especially when you get to a spot where you're struggling to find the zone. Hey, let's simplify and go right down the middle. Let's keep things simple.
Absolutely.
But it's never what I am picking up from you is it's never a mechanical thing that you're thinking about in the game. Never a mechanical.
Yeah. I used to be in the game in the minor leagues. I used to be a lot more mechanical. Your catch play. I know I was kind of bashing drills, saying, listen, the drills aren't important, but that catch play, that's the time to get technical. That's the time to overthink a little bit if you need to. Time to talk to the catchers, and that's the one thing that it's very common in baseball. Everyone's like, don't think about it when you're on the mound. That's a very hard thing to do because you want to think about it because you want to have the good mechanics, but you have to. That's the one thing that if I could go back and do in my career, it would just be to go out there and just whatever happens, whatever the result is of that game, hang my hat on it. I went out there, I battled, wait a little bit, dissect your mechanics the next day. On your day one, dissect the mechanics then. But, like, if I could have just gone out there and just more had fun and just attacked the hitters with bad mechanics, that would have been better than me going out there with trying to think about having good mechanics and then failing, getting out. Like it's gonna, the result's never gonna be good when you're out there. You're trying to do something. Just let the aggression, let your mindset kind of take you, and then the next day dissect and improve.
That's so interesting, man. I mean, I love that. I love everything about that. Let me move forward though. Does your mindset change when you're facing one of the game's top players, game's top hitters? Does it change when you're facing a guy that's an all-star caliber guy, an MVP caliber guy? Do things change in your mindset or in your approach, or do you face that guy like you're facing an 8-hitter or a guy that you've never heard of that just got called up from the minor leagues?
Yeah, in the big league level, it was cool because you take, it's like you face guys, you face. That clip you were showing, when I struck out Chris Davis, it's like, you're facing big league hitters. These guys are the best talent across the world. I mean, there's no slouch in any of these spots. And then now you're facing the elite of the big league hitters, the 2, 3, 4, one-hole hitters. Like, it becomes a point where, like, I noticed when I got called up, I would almost go into, like, hyper-focus when I was facing these big time, and I was going into like a level of focus that I didn't even know I had, just because it was almost like I was out there and it's like it's either going to be you or me. Like, you're this good and I'm I'm a rookie and I'm trying to make a name for myself, so I'm going to make a name for myself by giving you everything that I got. And it was cool because I noticed I was actually pitching better against kind of the top caliber hitters. And that showed me that I kind of had a lack of focus within my routine. And so what I'm trying to do now is, like, it doesn't matter who you are. I'm trying to bring the same aggression under control, same delivery against everybody. And that's just something that took me a really long time to try to learn. I mean, I still feel like I'm I still feel like I'm doing it. I'm going to get better at it. But yeah, I mean, I remember doing that in high school. I mean, there were certain hitters and everyone's worried about it, and you kind of tense up. And I stopped tensing up because I noticed that I'd rather, like I said, kind of go down swinging, if that makes sense.
I mean, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, that's really cool. You almost went to a different level of focus when you were facing those big league guys, those really high caliber guys. It's almost like, why do some guys have performed better in the playoffs? It's almost like they get to that next level of focus. But that's a great thing that it really helped you, kind of assess what was going on with guys that maybe weren't at that top tier level and made you better all around as a pitcher. So I thought that was really interesting.
Absolutely.
Another question for you: recovery. You end. You throw an inning, 2 innings, whatever it may be. What does your recovery look like after an outing? What needs to be done before the next day? What do you need to do that night? What do you need to do that next morning?
Yeah, if I can stress one thing, it's recovery. I took my body for granted when I was younger. I almost prided myself in not having to recover after games. I was so ignorant and so naive that I thought, it was almost a cool thing to be like, I can throw, I'm good. I don't need to do this with my body. Like, I'm 24. Trust me, guys, I'm fine. And all these older guys, I'd always, just wait till you're 25, just wait till you're 26, 27. And I'm telling you, like, as soon as I turned 26, and that's not even old, I just noticed a change in my body. I noticed my legs were a little bit heavier after days I'd play. I noticed it took a little bit longer just to kind of get the body moving. I still recover really, really well, but the one thing that I did is, and I'll tell you everything I do, but like, just to hit on the importance of recovery, it's hard for high schoolers, younger guys, to grasp that concept because they don't have the perspective and they don't necessarily know, like, why I should be doing this. As long as you start implementing it sometime in your career, it's going to benefit you. And that's the way I looked at it. I looked at it as like, you look at Tom Brady, you look at these guys, Albert Pujols, I watch him and his routine. It's unbelievable. He eats healthy. I mean, he's got food coming into him. He's eating clean. He's training. And there's a reason why the elite guys of this game play for 15 to 20 years. And there's a reason why they all have very consistent habits that they do. And I mean, I look at the veteran guys at our clubhouse, and they all recover. They all sit in those cold tubs and hot tubs. They all get their treatment and massages when they need to. And that's something that I told myself. I'm like, if I'm going to be a high leverage guy and I want my velocity if I want to be throwing 100 miles an hour till I'm 35, 38, 40 years old, like, that's my goal. I got to take this more serious. And so that's where my trainer does a really good job. My wife, who's actually training or working out right now, she makes me a lot of good food and dinners and stuff. But a typical day after I work out or after I pitch, I come in, I ice for 20 minutes. I know some people are against ice. It's something I've done as a kid. I like it. I do the Normatec. I put the Normatec on. I flush my legs out. I sit in those little recliner chairs, so you're supposed to, like, legs elevated. It's supposed to help. I'll do the stim machine if I'm feeling like I need to kind of flush it out even more. I actually just bought myself a Theragun, and I'm going to do that nightly. I'm just going to run that across my body. And it's like little habits like that you can do every single night that are so mindless, that just take a little bit of effort and work, that a lot of people don't do because they either get lazy. I remember last year I would rush out after the games because I had family in town. I would skip my routine and skip things, or friends are in town, and I would want to go hang out with them versus doing what I needed to do. And like, I've realized, like, this game's so taxing that you have to stay on that stuff.
Yeah, and you may not see it from day to day, but over the course of the season, it's going to be, and that's why probably I think why young kids don't get it is because you can't see that day to day. But when you look at day 1 to day, 150 or whatever it may be, 100 for you guys, 162, it's going to change. It's going to allow you to pitch at that same level or even increase by the end of the season by just staying in that routine, constantly taking care of your body, constantly taking care of your arm afterwards. Does that involve anything the next day? or are you just getting focused to pitch
I'm
again?
getting bit by mosquitoes. I'm going inside.
You're good.
Sorry, I'm going inside. I'm getting bit by mosquitoes right now. Say that again, Rob.
Does that filter into the next day? Is there anything you do the next day, or you just get right into getting prepared to pitch in a game, or is there more recovery?
Yeah, so if I go back to back outings, I'm probably gonna have a down day the next day. And if I go, let's say I'm coming in for an inning, I throw 5 pitches. I'll probably honestly not do much unless it's like I've thrown a lot that week. But if I've had some time off and I threw about 5-10 pitches, I'm probably not going to do that much recovery. I mean, I will do my routine, but I'm not going to be getting arm massage. I'm not going to be getting, I don't have to normatech my legs. It doesn't hurt, but it's like you don't want to burn yourself out. This stuff it's good to do it as much as you can, but you also listen to your body. If your body's sore, that's when you do it. Literally, your body's sore, you feel like crap, get in there. If you feel froggy and you got that energy to you, maybe just do a couple of the things. But the next day, if I'm still feeling pretty sore, I'll get on the incline treadmill and I'll do some interval sprints. I'll go out, I'll flush it out, I'll run a little bit. Angels, we're not too big on long distance cardio for pitchers.
Same here, man. We kind of advise against it. We're all like short bursts and keeping those fast twitch muscles working and not really going with that whatever they call that, the training where it's long distance and you're not in the same anaerobic versus aerobic system. So
right.
We're kind of anti that as well.
Yeah. So trying to think, but that's really it. Like I said, if I got a knot, I'll get a massage done. I'll do the Normatec. It's those 3 things. It's ice, cold tub, hot tub, Normatec, Theragun, massage, arm stretch, stim machine. Those are all tools that I've started implementing into my routine last year, and it really helped me.
Yeah, it really shows you the importance of all that stuff and how important it is to come back strong every day.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to finish with this for you, Ty. Ready? Toughest question tonight. You're 17 years old again, okay? What's one thing that you would tell yourself if you could go back in time and tell yourself something at 17 years old? What would you tell yourself?
Man, I would tell myself a lot. I would probably say to trust my instinct more than what I did. Not listen to as many people, because that would have allowed me to kind of keep things simple. It's very hard to do when you're a young kid and you got older people telling you things. It's very hard to, not be on board with what your organization wants you to do and to go against the grain. And just, honestly, one, I would have told myself to start my journaling and my logging, which helps my self-awareness. And I would have had my meditating. I would have had that stuff done. I would have been doing that for 8-9 years now, because I think that's huge for guys that need to be able to learn how to slow the game down, focus on what they need to. And probably just to say, listen, man, just to have confidence, but that's a hard thing to say, because you hear that all the time. You hear to have confidence, you hear to have focus. It's really hard to kind of understand that perspective from an older guy. But yeah, because I've been told everything that I would have gone back and told my younger self. It's crazy. That's the crazy thing.
You think about
Yeah, I was told to meditate. I was told to do my journals. I was told to recover. I was told to not listen to people. I was told to have confidence and focus. I was told to have a routine and a process. And I just thought that, I didn't really need to. And having that wake-up call when you start seeing your numbers, every year go up, and you start thinking about, well, am I not going to be playing in the big leagues? Am I going to have to get a real job? That was kind of my wake-up call.
Yeah, fail to succeed. I mean, that's really what it is. You got to fail to succeed. That's kind of what happened with all of our guys. They tell them all the time, and but it's great hearing it from a guy that's been through it. That's in a position where you can speak and talk about, hey, this is what I went through. This is what's important, even at my level, the highest level you can get to. So that's really cool. But brother, thanks a lot for being with us today. Appreciate it. Taking some time out of your day.
No problem, dude.
Hopefully this off season, ends sometime soon, and you can get back to playing baseball again.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's called like off season or if it's preseason or in season. Like I don't even know.
It's the second off season.
Yeah, I got no clue what it is out there. So,
but yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But once again, thank you for coming on, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Absolutely, Rob. Thanks for having me, man. If you guys, if any of the guys, I can't promise, response every time, but if any of the guys want to reach out to me and they have any questions, I'll try to answer them as best as I can, dude. But we're all in this together. But I appreciate you doing this, and good luck with everything, man.